Today's devotion is called Inaccurate Wisdom, and we are still in the book of Job. We're on day 170, June the 19th, and today's morning rinse is Job 31 through 33. The featured verses today include Job chapter 33, verses 32 and 33. Then if you have anything to say, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Keep silent, and I will teach you wisdom. If we thought that the three friends giving their false words of wisdom, and I'm going to put that also in air quotes, if we thought that they were extreme, then this fourth person enters the picture in our morning rinse today. His name was Elihu. He sat in silence listening to this entire conversation between Job and his three friends, or those three other guys, and he was boiling in his arrogance, basically. When Job defended his integrity for that very last time, this fourth person could no longer stay silent. His pride was a complete contrast to Job's character, and he basically told Job to quit talking so he could teach Job a thing or two about wisdom. I wonder if these four friends could defend their own personal lives like Job could. Job was able to speak with integrity about these things in his life, and I'm going to list them. The question would be, can we defend our integrity with such confidence like Job could? 1, he defended himself and said that he had not looked on women lustfully. He said this in chapter 31, verse 1. Number 2, he defended himself and said that he did not lie, nor was he ever deceitful. Chapter 31, verse 5. Number 3, he defended himself and said that he had never committed adultery. 31:9. Number 4, he never withheld any payment to his servants. Chapter 31. Edit that out. Chapter 31, verse 13. Number 5, he defended himself by saying that he never ignored or wrongly treated the poor, the widows, the orphans, or those in need. Chapter 31, verses 16 through 20. We also read in today's morning rinse the 6th thing that he defended. He said he lacked pride and did not trust in his possessions. Chapter 31, verse 24. The 7th thing, he never wanted revenge on his enemies. Chapter 31, verses 19 through 20. Number 8, he was hospitable to those who needed a place to stay while traveling. Chapter 31, verses 32. Number 9, he was a real man of faith, being very open about his life, with nothing to hide. Chapter 31, verse 34. Elihu had a false picture of Job's trials and claimed he heard from God regarding them. For me, I am thankful Job did not listen to anyone around him, but remained steadfast in his faith and in his integrity towards God. If we all have a close relationship with God like Job did, then we will be able to tell if a friend is wrong in their assessment and counsel. Be steadfast in your faith, so you are not swayed from inaccurate wisdom. And I encourage you to live a life of integrity like Job. And let me repeat this. We are going to have people in our lives that challenge us, that will call us out when we're, not necessarily on the right path. And we want that. We want people in our lives who are going to call us out on things that are not correct. I've mentioned before, I have a mentor. Her name's Janice DeMoss. I love Janice. And there are times where I will pick up the phone and call her, and I will share with her some of my struggles. We have coffee about once every year or two, once every year, or sometimes two or three times a year, depending on, what's going on. I also have a wonderful woman in my life who, has remained steadfast, and her name is Vicky Sperling. And so I have several people in my life who I can pick up the phone and call and, you know, uh, give me counsel and give me, direction and help me to stay on the right track. But sometimes we have friends in our lives that accuse us of things that are horrendous, like what these Job's friends, did. Most people aren't going to experience this kind of reaction from acquaintances or friends. Most people aren't going to be in relationships like that. And so I say all that to say that the examples that I have been giving you guys about Job's friends are not necessarily the norm, So please be very mindful about this and be very sensitive. Don't call people Job's friends just because they are challenging you. Don't call somebody a Job's friend, especially if they are, coming from a place of true concern, or that they're just more or less calling you. I would never call any of my mentors or people that I confide in, you disagree with me, and so therefore you're being a Job's friend. No, we don't want to be put into a situation or put somebody else into a situation where they are potentially, being compared to Job's friends. Because the reality of it is, we've walked through some of the horrific things that Job's friends said. And I would hope and wish and pray that none of you have anyone in your life that has said some of the things that Job's quote unquote friends said to him, accusing him of all kinds of things, deceitfulness, lying, just on and on and on and on. I want you to live a life of integrity, but yet keep your hearts open for those true godly counselors in your life. So today's challenge to dig deeper is to really ask yourself the question, have you ever received counsel from a friend that left you that feeling of unsettledness, that just didn't feel right? And ask God to free you from any of those emotional ties that you have with your friend, with what your friend has stated to you. I mean, granted, sometimes our friends are a little off. I mean, just like we are a little off, but that does not necessarily give us the right to call them a Job's friend, but that does give us the right to make sure that what they say is not necessarily something that we take root in and then start to have emotional ties to what they are saying. Always seek wise counsel. Love your friends, but remember, God is the ultimate counselor, and sometimes we just have to be careful, even if our friends are a little off. So make sure that you do not have people who are giving you inaccurate wisdom, but you always use that discernment to know when you need to listen to them and when they might be a little off, because the roles could very well be reversed, and you may be, assessing a situation incorrectly, or may not be fully embracing, the voices that are around you. And so just be mindful of that, and make sure that if you are listening to inaccurate wisdom, that you just allow God to help you with not having any emotional ties and not having any, statements and security in what they are saying. But remember that God is the ultimate counselor, and having wise people around you is so important. And after you evaluate your friendships, and what is, going on in your world, do you feel at peace with your confidence in God, even if your stance is different from your friends' positions regarding your life and your situation? And write that down. We ultimately need to continually evaluate the people that are in our lives, and to make sure that we have wise counsel, and that if anything is a little off, then we need to get back on track, and to make sure that we are listening to the one true counselor, Jesus Christ. And to make sure too that we, always listen to those people around us that are also listening to God's voice. And so if you do not have your own personal devotional, be sure and go ahead and click on the show notes, because I love walking through and giving you golden nuggets and just making sure that we are walking in tune with God's voice and making sure that we have the voice in our lives that God wants us to have, and that wisdom that's coming from other people sometimes. So be always careful of who you listen to, and always be careful of what they say and how you hear them, and always make sure that it aligns up with God's true purpose for your life. So I hope this inspired you, and I hope that you are continually gleaning things from this devotional. And until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.